Hello guys, Spirit here, bringing you Pyro 102 weapons. And today we're going to go over the different weapons that the Pyro has. I have my bot set up and ready, and we're going to start off with the back burner. It has 200 ammo, does 4 to 6 damage per ammo, 50 ammo for an air blast with it, but it really shines by its name, the back burner. You get guaranteed criticals by going to your opponent's back and burning them. This applies to anyone. Now if you go from the front, it will be the basic damage of 4 to 7. So your best bet is to use this ammo like a spy. Get behind them and burn them. They'll be dead before they know what even hit them. Next we have the Degreaser. It does 3 to 6 damage, its afterburn ticks for 2, and its air blast costs 20 ammo. It does give you a 65% weapon switch, but the downside is the reduced burn, the afterburn. Makes good for M1ing, but it's more of a weapon to use for M2 or switching to your other weapons to chain combos such as the flare gun and the extinguisher. This is your most prized. Next we have the Flattest Inator. It has 200 ammo, but it does not air blast. And as you can see in the center, I have a bar called the Oomph bar. When it's full, I taunt and I get guaranteed crits for 10 seconds. I also refill my health to full, and when taunting I only take 75% damage. Now you can fill up the Oomph bar through any means of fire damage. So flare gun will fill it up, taunt, and away you go with your crits once you get in close. Moving on to secondaries, we have the flare gun. Flare gun's a single shot weapon with 16 ammo, does 30 damage on impact, causes a 6-second burn tick with 3 damage, and it's got an ability not listed where if you hit a target that's on fire, it will crit for 90 damage. It does have a fall off arc to it, so you have to aim carefully and you'll manage to pull off that 90 crit if you hit a flaming target. Next we have the Detonator, an offset of the flare gun. It has 16 ammo as well. When you fire it and hit someone, it'll do 30 damage, but it'll only crit for a max of 45. There is a special ability where if you right click, you can cause the flare to detonate, hitting multiple people or a person around a corner. It does reduce impact damage when you explode it. It's all about getting the timing down to it. See, I having a bit of trouble pulling off. There we go, 12 damage. And you can also use it to jump around as you would rocket jumping, allowing you to get to new heights as a roamer pyro and sneak behind your enemies. It does take your health, so use it wisely. Next we have the Manmelter, part of the Moon Man set. It fires one flare every few seconds, only does 30 damage plus the tick damage, 3 damage per tick. It has a special ability where if you right click a friendly who's on fire, it'll absorb it for a guaranteed critical, which will do 90 damage. Very useful for putting out friendlies if you have the Backburner or the Flattest Inator. Next we have the Scorch Shot from the Pyromania update. It has 16 ammo, and the flare does 50% reduced damage, but it knocks back enemies and can catch multiple targets on fire from the flare. The flare will only bounce and set multiple targets on fire if it hits a target. Also has a taunt kill that shoots a flare and kills the opponent instantly if they're at a close range. At a further range, it just lights them and knocks them back. As you can see here, just knocks them back, lights them on fire. But getting close range, 400 damage, instant kill. And lastly, we have the reserve shooter. It's a shotgun with only 3 rounds. It increases your weapon switch by 10%, and upon pulling it out, you gain 3 seconds of mini crits to any airborne target. That includes if they're jumping or if they've been lifted off the ground through a rocket blast or an air blast. Here's an example with the air blast. This weapon's pretty useful if you have great aim. If you have terrible aim, stick with your stock shotgun. It'll work better than trying to get these random mini crits. Also works well against targets who are burning already. But your best bet, use your flare or your shotgun. Next we have our melee weapons, starting with the 3rd degree. The 3rd degree is a straight upgrade from the basic fire axe. It does 65 damage, 195 crit. When you kill your opponent, they turn into ashes. As an additional bonus, when you attack an enemy or a medic, as long as they're attached by that heal beam, both targets will take the damage. So overall, you could attack a medic, hurt his heal target, or attack his heal target and kill the medic. Either way, it forces the medic to stop. Next we have the power jack. On kill, it gives you 75 health, but while it's active, you take 20% more melee damage. And it will provide overheal, as you are seeing in my HUD. But you cannot go over your 260 overheal limit. It does 65 damage and 195 melee crit. This is a great weapon for finishing, and it's part of the gas jockey set. Next we have the sharpened Volcano X. It has reduced damage. It does 52 damage and 156 crit. But as a specialty, when it hits, you cause 6 seconds of afterburn. This is a great weapon for medieval mode for setting people on fire. Otherwise, it's not a very good weapon. Next is the back scratcher. You deal 25% more damage, you pick up 50% more health on health packs, but you receive 75% less healing from a dispenser or medigun. You can do 82 base damage or a 244 crit with it. This weapon is suggested for a roamer Pyro. So while you're going around, a small meta pack becomes a large meta pack, a large meta pack becomes full meta pack, and a full meta pack stays the same. Next we have the Neon Annihilator from the Triad update. It does 52 base damage and 156 critical damage. It has a 100% critical hit versus wet players. This includes Water, Mad Milk, or Girardi. You are also able to remove zappers from buildings, but you have a minus 20% damage penalty versus players, and you cannot perform a random critical hit. This weapon is not very well put to use unless you're in conjunction with a scout or a sniper. Next we have the Homewrecker. This is a Pyro's favorite weapon. It does 49 base damage, 146 crit. It deals twice the amount of damage against enemy buildings. So a sentry will take 2 hits, dispenser 2 hits, teleporter 2 hits, and it's down. It's also able to remove zappers from friendly buildings, and it deals 25% less damage against players. This is not a melee weapon to go around hitting people with. It's more of a melee weapon to help your team with their teleporters, sentries, and dispensers from enemy spies. And lastly, we have the Fabled Extinguisher. This is a Pyro's best weapon for melee. It does 33 damage for base, and it crits for 195. It does 50% less damage on non-burning targets. It has no random critical hits. But on a burning target, it guarantees a critical hit, 100%. The target can be set on fire from anything: a flare gun, a flamethrower, or any source that causes flames. And it doesn't have to be your flames. It could be any enemy's flames that have been reflected, or it could have been another friendly Pyro who lit them. As long as they are burning, you're guaranteed critical hits against them. It does not work against enemy Pyros in any way. So, your best loadout for Pyro is usually agreed upon as Degreaser, Flare Gun, Shotgun, and Extinguisher. That's your most reliable Pyro loadout. I hope to see you in Pyro Tactics 102.